with the what do you think is more of a big surprise? The struggle of Brady or the struggle of Aaron Rodgers and what's going on with the Green Bay Packers? Do you think that these two guys are the end of an era for their team, an end of a
The Green Bay situation reminds me of the last year of McCarthy, where the play calling was subpar. I can make the same argument for the Bucks, but this is for the Packers. It's almost identical to when the year they fired McCaffrey, and Rodgers is constantly bickering with LaFleur. The play calling is like, hey, what are you doing? You're letting teams come back on you. You're letting teams steal the lead early, and then you have trouble coming back because you don't have the quick offense that you used to.
Yeah, you can't just score anymore. It has to be
So,
calculated.
So as much as LaFleur, I don't know. It was always hard to judge whether LaFleur was a good coach because he's had a piggyback off of Aaron Rodgers and a good team.
Yeah.
So it just could be one of those scenarios where it's like, hey,
team's not
Aaron
good
Rodgers
anymore.
wants LaFleur gone, and the Green Bay Nation's going to stick behind Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. How many more years do you think Brady and Aaron have left? I mean, how many more seasons?
Rodgers just signed for 3 more years, right?
Wow.
That was the beginning of this year.
I'm in agreement with Brady on bigger surprise is Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers.
The biggest surprise is that.
But they've become predictable. I mean, there's only one guy that threatens you on that team as far as a receiving option, and he plays running back, and that's Aaron Jones. Besides that, there's nobody that scares you. Romeo Doubs don't scare you. There's no tight end. Tanya makes a play every now and then. Good enough guy, but he's more of a compliment. Lazard hasn't done anything this year. He's been banged up all season, got a shoulder situation right now. Christian Watkins hasn't been able to stay on the field yet either. And I'm sure play calling comes down to it. I agree with you too, Brady. But it's a bigger surprise for me for Aaron Rodgers because I look at him as being different from Brady in the ways of just having a little bit more mobility and a little bit more creativity on ways to get people the ball and get people open. I look at Brady as more of a surgeon who's going to read you before right as you break the huddle. So I'm not as surprised that the Bucs struggles up until this point. I mean, I was all over that preseason and stuff like that. But Green Bay to be looking as bad as they have been, to lose to Washington last week, completely shake my head at that. Because even with the lack of talent, I feel like that team should not be as bad as what they've been.
Right. Yeah.
And some of it's got to fall on Aaron Rodgers' shoulders. You can go play calling, you can go limited weapons, but you're the 2-time running MVP. I expect you to figure some more things out, and he has not.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's Tom Brady and the Bucs. For me, I just think that that's a bigger, with the way. Maybe not. I guess because of the way things unfolded, season. Coming in, the O-line was messed up. So if ever for any reason one more person goes down, it's like, where's the depth? They don't have any, at that point, and that was, coming in first week, you already had guys completely out. I don't know. It's they're both surprising, really. I mean, both of them, but I guess Green Bay could be more in my eyes. The more you analyze, the more you start. Did they do enough to replace Devontae? And I don't think you even tried. On the other hand, who were you going to go and get? Who were you going to go try and make a trade for? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want try anything, do anything. Do you use a first-round pick? Did they even use a first-round pick on?
Yeah, they got Watkins. I think he was their highest draft pick this past year. Late first, early second, one of the two. But yeah,
he was round 2.
But the Packers style, they just don't do that. They don't do that. They'll go get a defensive lineman. I think that's the only thing, like the Reggie White thing back in the day. I remember them going and getting him. The Packers just aren't that type of organization. They've never been that type of organization. Yeah, there's plenty of chances. There's probably still plenty of chances. You could go get a Brandon Cooks who's being talked about as being shopped, a Chase Claypool. Any of those guys would be an upgrade over whoever you have on that roster for Green Bay right now. And they're not going to cost you a first-round draft pick, neither one of those two. And they're definitely going to have an instant impact on that offense as soon as they get up to speed, in my personal opinion. There's got to be a couple more guys, if I sit here and think about it, that would probably be available for them to go make a move for. I don't know. Maybe they want secretly to Aaron Rodgers to fail.
What about
maybe
Odell?
It's a little payback.
What about
I don't know.
What about a little Odell Beckham?
Anything.
To the Green Bay Packers.
Anything. Like you said it weeks ago, and probably in the preseason as well. Did you do enough to replace Devontae Adams? They clearly did not. We all see it on the field.
We all see it.
Just how much that mattered to the Packers. And the Bucs have just lost it because of attrition. I mean, you win a championship, it's tough to keep everything together. It's tough to keep that magic together. So like I said, I'm with the Packers being a little bit more of a disappointment.
Yeah, I'm on board now. There's just
I mean, I was like, to add to it, like in the case of the Bucs, like I was talking about play calling, like the main thing that's missing there on that offense is Bruce Arians, right? The no risk it, no biscuit, the guy that can change the boring play calling, saying, hey, let's switch it up. Let's have a Godwin do an end around. You haven't seen any of those this year. Let's change it up and not run it first and second down. It's different stuff. And it's been mediocre play call. And I think I've been saying this for a while. I don't know if you guys have been listening, but I was hoping that Byron Leftwich, found a head coaching job there with Jacksonville or somewhere else. Cause I've always said that even when we had Brady, that when we won the Super Bowl, that his play calling, if we lost the Super Bowl, it would have been on his back.
I think it's still leadership too. That was another thing that I touched on about some of the losses that they had. The fact that Bruce Arians is still sitting in an advisory role over the team speaks volumes to me as well. That the leadership is just on the field with the players, all the veterans that departed from Gronk, which just does it by his actions. Then you got Ndamukong Suh, you got Pierre-Paul, really key pieces. And then losing the center in the preseason. Brady's only one man, and it's he's damn near as old as Todd Bowles, it feels like. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's tough. He's older than Leftwich.
Crazy.
It's
crazy.
It's tough, man. I think it's a combination of a lot of things for the Bucs, but I think all that writing on the wall was available to read preseason coming into this year.
And the Bucs got to play Pierre-Paul this Thursday. Is it Thursday? Yeah. It's Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday night game.